على رسول الله وعلى آله وصحبه ومن والاه. اللهم لا سهل إلا ما جعلته سهلا وأنت تجعل الحزن إذا شئت سهلا. اللهم إنا نسألك علما نافعا ورزقا طيبا وعملا متقبلا. اللهم علمنا ما ينفعنا وانفعنا بما علمتنا وزدنا علما على علمنا. رب اشرح لي صدري ويسر لي أمري واحلل عقدة من لساني يفقهوا قولي. Alright. بعد أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. So yesterday we talked about a lot of new concepts for you guys. So I just want to simply summarize a key thing. First we looked at Hadith Jibreel, right? So that is the what should I say, the what is the central part of a circle of a sphere called? The core. It is the core of everything comes from that. Okay? Why? The reason is because Rasulullah ﷺ said what? Jibreel came to teach you your religion, right? So based on that, we use that as the core of our religion. Nothing outside of that necessarily. Okay? All right. Then we talked about priorities, excellence. We talked about good conduct, which is a real purpose. So I prepared some takeaways so that you guys, things to remember. Okay, takeaways. Okay. Earning the pleasure of Allah Subhanahu wa Taala is above all else, right? Our goal is to earn the pleasure of Allah Subhanahu wa Taala. And then our job is to excel in all relationships in order to attain the pleasure of Allah Subhanahu wa Taala. Allah Subhanahu wa Taala tells us, okay, this is what you need to do for the relationship, our relationship with Allah, our relationship with Rasulullah, our relationship with the Book of Allah, our relationship with ourselves, with our parents, with our children, everything, right? All the relationships. Environment, right? And then remember the priorities, and we'll talk more about priorities at the very end once you have kind of understood everything. But make sure you keep the priorities in mind because they help you give clarity amidst a lot of confusion. Okay. So, for example, I was asked a question yesterday by one of the sisters. They said. It's okay, I don't want to use that example, but basically, whenever there's confusion as to what to do, just remember that try to pick the best choices based on the knowledge that's given to you. Pick your battles. Understand what is the most important thing and focus on the important thing. Okay, let's move on. Then we talked about knowledge and its sources and the different, the definitive and the not definitive in meaning or in source. I have like a simple takeaway, but before I talk about that takeaway, I want to share something with you that I missed talking about yesterday. Degrees of wisdom. So we talked about knowledge, right? Authenticating knowledge. Knowledge. What is knowledge? When I say knowledge, I don't mean necessarily it could be this, but knowledge, it comes from pieces of data, right? Pieces of data. For example, if I walk in a straight line toward this wall, I don't know if I'm going to hit the door. I want to go outside, so I'm just going to go. And when I hit the door, then I realize that, oh, there's a door there. Let's say I can't see. So I'm developing knowledge, right? So I'm blind, or maybe the room is dark, and I'm developing knowledge. Then I'm walking around, I'm figuring out, oh, there's a wall here. There's, an opening there. There's a bathroom there, what have you. You're developing these pieces of data, and then knowledge is like you, as a blind person, you're making a picture of the whole masjid in your head, right? Okay. So from these pieces of data, you're getting more information. Oh, this is hard. This is soft. This is cold. Yeah. You're giving it meaning.
Next one.
Is there a way we can put a we can't put a notice out there, right? The kids are going to keep coming.
It will
Okay.
that money.
So from the knowledge you derive, from the pieces of data, you get information. From information, you develop knowledge. You have now knowledge of the masjid and its purpose, okay? Then wisdom is you have all of these pieces of knowledge that you put together to and it gives you the ability to apply the knowledge, when to apply the knowledge. Okay, this is a masjid. What is the purpose of the masjid? Right? That's part of wisdom. What is the purpose of the masjid? How do we, what are we supposed to do in the masjid, etc. So there are these degrees of wisdom, okay? And you can be an expert in one area, and you might have wisdom in one area, but that doesn't mean you have wisdom in everything. So in all of the sciences that we looked last time, everyone has an area of expertise. They might have information about a science, but they might not have the wisdom of that science. Does that make sense? Right? And your degrees are going to vary on how much effort and energy and the risk of intellect that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has given you. So you're going to be able to attain that wisdom based on the mercy of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. One other way, I really like this diagram, it's very nice. Pieces of data, think of just dots, and then information kind of colors the dots. It gives a little bit more. You can, pieces of data that you put together in circles. Knowledge it helps you connect the dots, right? Wisdom tells you which connection is most important, or which connection in this case is more useful, right? So this is really important, because we think we know, and we actually might be here or here, right? We don't know this. This is where scholarship comes in the wisdom area, okay? Another diagram that I want to show you, Dunning-Kruger Effect. I know this is all about Islam, okay? I promise you, this is extremely important. Dunning-Kruger Effect. So as you come out of this class, and if it's been useful to you, you'll go, oh, now I know, right? And your confidence of knowledge is going to peak, okay? Your confidence in knowledge is going to peak. Oh, I know about all of the sciences and all of this stuff. It's a false high, okay? It's a false high. It's called the peak of Mount Stupid. This is somebody called. There was a guy, Dunning-Kruger, he came up with it. It's so appropriate and it's so valid, and you see it all over the place. When kids, they grow up and they get into their teenage, how they start to feel like they're know-it-alls? Because, they're gathering all this information. It's like, I know everything. I'm going to school, I'm learning this. My parents don't even know X, Y, Z, whatever. So they're at peak of Mount Stupid, okay? Excuse the crass language, I'm just using that to just lighten the mood, okay? The more you learn, and hopefully that happened yesterday to you, the more you learn, you realize how much you don't know. Knowledge is an ocean, right? All we're doing is barely maybe drinking a drop of water from that ocean. Then you realize, and this is a good place to be, value of despair, which means you realize how much you don't know. Oh my gosh, there's so much to learn. That is, some people attain that when they come from college into the real life, and they realize that they know nothing about how to even interact with their manager or their peers, right? They don't even know how to communicate. They can't get promoted because they're missing the boat, right? They don't know what's going on. And there's suddenly this valley of despair. And then slowly, those who want to improve themselves, they start to journey on this slope of enlightenment, right? They start to learn and develop and develop and develop, and then they attain, a sense of humility, whichever level you want to get to. That I can only learn this much. I can't know beyond this, and I know my limitations and capacity. All important, okay? Hopefully this was helpful. So, out of this class, I don't want you to be here. I want you to be here. Okay? I'm certainly here, right? And I'm slowly trying to journey up. Okay? All right, good. Enough of philosophy. So, what was the takeaway from our yesterday's class on knowledge? have discernment on the source of knowledge, where you get it. Is it reliable? Is it just assumed knowledge, or is it unreliable knowledge? Okay, very important, right? What is the source of this knowledge? Who is giving you this knowledge? Where are you taking it from? Then, discern the strength of the evidence. Okay, the evidence that somebody's providing you, is it authentic evidence, or is it just their opinion? Where that happens a lot, right? People live in the land of opinion. Oh, I think this is not right. Oh, I think we should do such and such. I think whatever. We don't approach it from a strength of evidence point of view. We live in opinion land. Okay, so you have weak evidence, and then you have opinions, and you have false evidence, right? Completely false. Fox News evidence, right? Okay, then the meaning, the strength in the meaning. The evidence might be strong. What somebody told you is really, really strong, is authoritative, right? But what they told you, is it clear, or is it ambiguous, right? Is it clear, or is it ambiguous? Are you assuming something that person didn't say? It's very important. What are assumptions we're making about what somebody's telling you? Might be really good source, the person might be really knowledgeable, the evidence is very authentic, but what they told you is you are interpreting. So when we read the Quran, when we read the ayah, you are interpreting its meaning. Okay? How do you know that what you're interpreting is the correct interpretation? You have somebody else come in and tell you what the interpretation is, somebody you trust. Okay. How do you build trust in somebody that you get information from? You have to understand what is somebody's methodology. Are they using a methodology? They might be a really trustworthy person. They tell the truth. They study a lot. They went to school for 500 years, whatever, right? It doesn't matter if they went to school or not, and they have a title mufti or whatever, right? It doesn't matter. What matters is when they give you an opinion, is it based on a methodology? Are they using a consistent, I should use the word, methodologically consistent? Are they using a methodology, and are they consistent in that methodology? Okay, for example, methodology being I'm giving you really coarse examples, extreme examples, just to give you an idea. Okay? The person's methodology would be, I don't take my information from Hadith at all. I only look at the Quran, and that's my methodology. It's a methodology. Okay? Understood? That's one. So every opinion they give, they better follow that methodology every single time, so you know exactly where they stand. Okay? Another methodology could be, I look at all ahadith, whether they're authentic, weak, whatever, I don't care. I'm just going to focus on ahadith. I'm not going to talk to people. I'm not going to listen to people's opinions. Whatever, 600,000 or so, 100,000, 600,000 or so ahadith that we have out there in the universe, I'm just going to use that. That's the methodology. It's fine. Okay? So you have to understand somebody's methodology and consistency in methodology. Okay? We will talk about that later as we develop our knowledge a little bit more about how, this is around fiqh sciences. How do you actually build a methodology? Okay? And when they give you, we've already covered this, when they tell you something, follow this is my ruling, you should do X, Y, Z, you confirm which methodology is this based on. Is it your methodology, or is it somebody else's methodology that you're leveraging? If it's not your methodology, why are you using this other person's methodology? And then you learn from that, and then you get to decide. Okay, we'll wrap up with an ayah. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says in Surat Yusuf, وَفَوْقَ ذِي كُلِّ ذِي عِلْمٍ عَلِيمٍ. There is a knowledgeable person over every person of knowledge. There is a knowledgeable person. Over them there's a knowledgeable person. Over them there's a knowledgeable person. And then this ayah is also interpreted as Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala saying, over every person of knowledge, know that Allah has all knowledge, you don't. Right? Okay? Alim is Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Okay? And Allah knows best. Learn to say, Allah knows best. Okay? Was this a good summary? I hope this was a good summary, inshallah. Okay, then we looked at the tenets of the science, and we looked at the whole table of contents of the sciences. I think we spent an hour and a half on that yesterday. So I wanted to give you what is the purpose of the science. What is the purpose of the science? Science is a process. It takes input, process takes input and gives you output. What is the input? Remember my roots and fruits discussion from yesterday? The roots are Quran and Sunnah. Process, this is the Islamic sciences, and output is what you were supposed to do. We get fiqh, we get aqidah, we get tazkiyah, how to do tazkiyah, we know what the purpose is, and we do that, okay? And we have enablers. Enablers for that process, we need to know Arabic in order for us to have credibility. We need to know logic, we need to know Islamic history, we need to know all this other stuff. And then there's controls in place, controls of the process. Is your process outside of the bounds of Quran and Sunnah? Is your goal to see, is the scholar, the scientist's goal to seek the pleasure of Allah or the pleasure of the people? There's controls in place, right? So this is a really good diagram, I think. It shows what we're studying. So what are we studying? We're studying the orange today. That's all we're doing. I told you, this is not covering the content. I'm not talking, if you don't know the Quran, this class is not going to teach you. If you don't know the body of the Hadith, this class is not going to teach you that. If you don't know the body of fiqh, this class is not going to teach you that. I'm only telling you the process. Okay? It's content free. Okay, we're going to have tidbits of content here and there, but that's not the purpose. Okay, cool, clear? Takeaway on the sciences. All sciences that you learn related to Sharia, all sciences must align with what our Sunnah calls for, right? We have to achieve that output, right? Okay. Sciences help derive the purpose, but they're not purpose of themselves, right? They're not the purpose on their own. They have a purpose to derive the output. Some people just get lost in the sciences, forgetting the purpose. We debate with each other about the science and methodology, or methodology is not right, and blah, 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 blah. It creates a lot of division, and they forget that who I'm talking to, first of all, is a human being. Second of all, he is a Muslim who says, La ilaha illallah Muhammad Rasulullah. Priority-wise, his honor, Rasulullah said, right, to the Kaaba, that, O Kaaba, you're very honorable, but the honor of a human being, of a Muslim, of a mu'min, is more than the Kaaba. The honor of a human being, Rasulullah said, is more important than the honor that you give to the Kaaba. What do? We push people to get to the Kaaba. What? So, warped and incorrect. You understand? So, people who are debating with each other, calling each other names, and all of this division that we have in the Ummah is because they don't realize that the purpose is not the science and your methodology. That's not your focus. The focus is the priorities that we talked about. Your conduct and treatment of another human being is more important than other things. And talk respectfully. And Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala instructed Bani Israel and indirectly to us, وَقُولُوا لِلنَّاسِ حُسْنًا, and speak to people kindly. Yeah. Okay, you might disagree. It's okay to disagree. Great. Disagreement is a blessing because it makes you think. It either helps you strengthen. You have to work hard to strengthen your approach. And if you realize that your approach is weak and theirs is better, you adopt theirs and you abandon yours because it's weak. Understand? So, difference in opinion is a great blessing. Doesn't mean you go fight each other. Okay, inshallah. Moving on. Now, inshallah, bismillah, we're gonna start with the sciences of the Sunnah. You might ask this question now. Let me just take a